Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. Good morning. I don't know where to look. Look, oh my, look. I feel so retreat-esque. I'm on my phone. You guys, I'm in San Diego, really Escondido, which is outside. I think it was an hour from San Diego. I look horrible in this lighting. Anyway, maybe I need to stand up a little. So I'm at the retreat, and I tried to use my laptop. We're way up at the top of this mountain. No, Macaulay Culkin, it was not working. I am at the Cactus Blossom Retreat where they encourage you to awaken the magic in you. Ding, if I was at home, I would ring the bell. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a remote broadcast of, what show is it? Who am I? Bathrobe Moments. I'm not that bad. But anyway, this show today, we could have rescheduled it, but I didn't want to. I always feel like everything happens divinely. And this story today is just so incredible. I'm going to bring a young lady in here, and I do mean a young lady. We're on first name basis. So her name is Maggie. I'm reading from over here. She's been helping coaches, leaders, executives, and entrepreneurs scale their businesses or their projects without burnout by focusing on enhancing their energy biochemically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. She believes that you can increase your energy as you age. Maggie offers small, intimate mastermind programs for those who wish to level up their energy and productivity and to be accountable in reaching their goals. Now, here's another thing I didn't know about these retreats. This is the first retreat I've been on that wasn't my own, right? I didn't know when you don't know people, you stay up half the night. Oh my Lord. Okay, it's already like, and I just want to say this for future reference, I will be so much more understanding to my California or my mountain and Pacific time guest, because it is literally the crack of dawn. I had to get up at 5 o'clock out here, which is not bad for me because I usually get up earlier than that at home in Chicago, but it is when you stay up till like 3, 4 in the morning my time. So anyway, forgive me if I get to be a bit loopy, but today's story, and it is a story. Now, you heard me say all the things about Maggie, and I'm going to get her in here. But today we're going to talk about her son. Wow. What an amazing young man. Adam, I feel like I know him just from watching some video and what his mother, Maggie, was telling me about him. And I'm not going to say too much but I do want to encourage you at this point. And remember, I'm on my phone, so I'm trying to run the show with little bitty things to push in. You see these fingers, really? Okay. Right? Ding. But I'm going to get her in here. This story is just incredible. Just incredible. And I'm hoping that I can get Maggie to share the video because I don't know if I can make it work from my tiny little phone. But anyway, put your hearts on the screen. This is a true blessing today. Trust me. If you want to do something good for the world today, share this broadcast out right now, because what you're about to hear is going to change your life. Put some hearts on the screen. Here comes our good friend Maggie, all the way from Canada. Okay, Maggie, you're here live, and you're so much taller than me. You're so much taller in video than I thought you were. You're like, how tall are you? I'm like a floating head, a bobblehead. You look so good.
Oh, thank you.
Look, I don't want to waste any time. I just want to tell you how honored I am, seriously, Maggie, to meet you, Miss Maggie Maier, and just to already to the level that I've been touched by your story and your son's story. And you see, I kind of left the cliffhanging part out because I'm going to do what I do every day. Can I do it from here? Wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out how to lay out. Yes, I am going to how do I do that? Oh, Lord. Okay, I better not try to get all fancy. I'm going to ask you to just share with everybody, introduce yourself, go down the whole bio, and then take us to our topic of the day, your son, Adam. And how can I make this? And I'm going to try to make this thing move so I can. Oh, there. Okay. I'm techie. Look what I'm doing it, Mom. I'm doing it. No hands. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, go ahead. Start telling everybody what about the story we're going to hear today. It's incredible, and I'm going to try to fix this. There we go.
So,
Okay.
do you want a little bit about my background, or would you just like me to start talking
No,
about
tell them about Mom first. Tell them about Maggie, because you're here with us, and it's going to tie everything together down the road. Go right ahead.
And you can see me okay?
You look great.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. You look like a newscaster.
Thank
Ding.
you. Well, I've been up early getting ready and organized for this. How's that?
Well, you look great. You look great. And I just want to say, I know how much this means to you because of the way all the things you were sending me, and just go. Just let's get into it. It's such a wonderful story.
So hi, my name is Maggie Maier, and I'm CEO, Chief Energy Officer of MaggieMaier.com. For over 2 decades now, I've actually been speaking, coaching, consulting entrepreneurs, executives, and employees from around the world on basically how to boost their energy, their mood, and motivation, all naturally, without pills or booze. Better known in Canada as Canada's natural healing and detox expert, and I've empowered thousands of clients to break free from their constant battle with their own bodies, conquering issues like tiredness, chronic exhaustion, moodiness, weight-related stress, as well as anxiety, depression, and addictions. And I just see countless entrepreneurs and high achievers struggle on a day-to-day basis in terms of all the workload that they have, all the to-dos they have to manage, and they're going up and down emotionally. They're dealing with anxiety, and they're blaming themselves. They're really hard on themselves, believing that, they're not disciplined or motivated enough. And just what I've learned is that we really get to the root cause of individual symptoms. We don't look at Band-Aid approaches. So I really work with people biochemically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So those are my pillars, and we can get into a little bit more, but I'm also happy to definitely talk about my beautiful son, Adam. And I did send you via email some pictures of him, so I don't know if you've received anything.
I'm going to try to upload them. I'm over there. So I'm glad that you can just take the story while I try to load stuff, because where did you send me the video? Where was that? Was that an email?
On your Gmail account.
The video?
I didn't send the video. I didn't, I can. I think this video is also on your LinkedIn page. I sent it to LinkedIn.
Okay, because I'm gonna find it because I want to share it. But go ahead. So first of all, let me set this up. So Maggie, all the work you do to ease suffering in the world in the manner in which you just laid out, is that what you've always done for a living?
No, actually, in my early 20s, I started my first company teaching companies how to go global. I became fascinated with the cultural differences of different countries. And there's different cultural differences when we market our products or our services, when we negotiate with people, when we communicate with people. And so I remember, I think I was about 27, 28. I actually jumped on a plane and went to China by myself for a month. Basically, I put a whole program together. I wanted to learn all the mistakes that entrepreneurs were making in China in terms of sales and what have you. So I've traveled all over the world. I've been to China, Japan, Hong Kong, Europe, Africa, North America, the Caribbean. So I love to learn. I love to research. And through that process, I became much more involved in learning how people heal. The Chinese, for example, have a very unique approach, more holistic approach to healing than North America does.
Yes.
And I like that holistic approach. When we deal with anxiety or depression, it's it's your thinking, it's your environment, it's what you're eating, it's the toxic chemicals in your body, it's mineral imbalances. So there's all these factors that I think are really critical. We're complex individuals, human beings.
Absolutely.
And we're emotional, we're mental, we're spiritual. So we need to really look at all those aspects. So what happened was I had returned back from a trip, and I ended up getting really, really ill, working in a sick building. I was doing some export advising for a company, and I ended up almost dying from a mold exposure. I was bedridden for over 2 years, and I developed.
So literally, the building was sick.
Yeah, literally, yeah. And so I developed very severe chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, and multiple chemical sensitivities, which I'm seeing a lot of now in North America. And back then, there was very little known about it. It was all in your head. That was a lot, it's all in your head. So I, interestingly enough, had a wonderful doctor who tried to give me different pills, which didn't work. And he just said to me, Maggie, I don't know how to help you. You need to leave and find your way. So imagine I'm in business. I don't know anything about holistic healing or wellness. So that set me on a journey. And when you're a single mom and my son was living with his dad at the time, and I was responsible for flying him into another city, I was going to do anything and everything I could to ensure that I survived and thrived and got back into my business and saw my son. And I must admit, and this will tie into the story, is that at one point, it was really frustrating. It was costing a lot of money. I was seeing environmental medical doctors. I was doing chelation therapy, IV therapy drips, and just, I wasn't really getting that much better. And, when you lose hope, when you're dealing with any issue in life and you lose hope, then you start to go down. And I remember calling my son, and he was very young at the time. And I was actually seriously considering, I'm going to die. I'm not going to make it through this. And I called my son and I just said, I really feel Mummy is going to die soon. And
my goodness.
And so he just said on the phone, Mummy, you can't die. I need you. And so that was an impetus that also kept me moving forward. And as a result of that, I got into more alternative medicine, holistic healing. Where I live in Ottawa, Ontario. We have actually one of the largest holistic healing communities in Ontario, in our province. So over time, I was able to get, 100% better. And from that, I've met incredible people. I've learned all kinds of things. And then I ended up getting certifications in a variety of different modalities. I've been spending my life learning and researching and getting educated. And I'm going to be certified in brain health. I do a lot of work around neuroscience, how the brain works. So I'm just fascinated with how to heal. And, your body has the ability to heal, but sometimes it just needs additional information or help.
Okay. So here we go. Adam, tell us about, well, first of all, you're going to have to, I guess, open by telling them the outcome. And then we're going to reverse engineer everything and talk about what led to it. So I hate this part, but I love what came from this part. I'm not kidding you. This really touched me, Maggie, and watching Adam's videos really touched me. I'm not kidding you, because this happened in my own family. And I remember how it was almost an ongoing joke at our family gatherings about my brother-in-law wanting anyone to listen to him about this pain and stuff that he was literally feeling in his body.
Yeah.
So go ahead. Tell us.
Tragically, just at 27 years young, my beautiful son, Adam Maier Clayton, died by suicide. And it's a parent's worst nightmare. It took a lot out of me. I was just really struggling for a very long time as a result of that.
You think?
And even just last night, I actually watched this video for the first time on YouTube. It's had over 3.1 million hits. And my son ended up getting very political about what had happened to him. And he was trying to advocate on behalf of the mentally ill. And it was the first time I was able to actually watch it without really breaking down, because, it's been several years now, but I felt I wanted to just watch it yesterday because I wanted to hear his voice. I miss my son's voice.
Oh my goodness.
I miss his laughter. And in a weird way, I'm grateful that he did the YouTubes, because I can see him and I can watch him periodically. So, he's so dear to my heart. And one thing I've learned is, even when someone dies, your child or anyone that you really love in your life, that love for that person continues even when they're gone. So my love for my son just continually grows. So I've had to really learn how to navigate all this. It's very complicated, especially a suicide death.
So, but Adam's situation was different than what a lot of people, and he made it to the forefront of a lot of publicity, a lot of media attention, because he was fighting for the right to what?
So let's just backtrack just for a second. I just want to talk about really what happened. So my son was dealing with a lot of mental health problems growing up, obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, different things. And he was at the time living with his dad. And so they were very involved with medications. Now, I'm more in the alternative healing environment. I didn't agree with a lot of this, but that's what happened. And I could see over time, and then my son came to live with me eventually, that the medications, honestly, in my opinion, were making him worse. They were making him more erratic, more moody, more depressed, more up and down. Um, but he was managing. My son had, 3 jobs bartending. He was going to school, and then eventually he was working full time at a bank. He was really, really ambitious, and he just did his best to cope. And then what happened is one night he came home and he'd smoked marijuana with a group of his friends. And he said he'd taken about 5 hits from a bong. And it turns out we've learned that the THC in marijuana, whether you buy it, from a government a government business or somebody on the street, whatever, the bottom line is the THC in marijuana today is too high for the developing brain. And the developing brain is, from 0 to about 27 years of age. So my
Yes.
son was only 24 when this happened. And I'm telling you, he went from an active, strong, working out. I mean, he used to play soccer. He was scouted on 2 American teams at one point when he was younger. He was very social. Then all of a sudden, he's very depressed. He's not bathing. He's going internal. I mean, a mother recognizes when, her son has major changes in his behavior. And so I just saw him really decline over time. And then he didn't want to do anything really alternative. We did a few things. But he ended up going back home to live with his father. And that's when he started his campaign on the right to die for the mentally ill. And so according to the law right now, at the time in Canada, you had to have a foreseeable death or illness, that was very chronic and long term for you to be able to die with dignity, and otherwise my son was advocating for the mentally ill because they not only have mental health issues, but they also have physical pain. And my son developed this burning sulfuric acid pain all through his body where he was just in massive pain, and to the point where a very social guy loves to talk, like his mom can only talk for 5 minutes a day because the pain is so intense. And so he started to advocate. He knew that he would never be able to get the right to die for himself, but he decided that this would be his legacy before he dies. And I have to admit, we had a lot of issues around this. I'm coming from the land of the living, and I want to help him, and I want to save his life, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help him. And he's advocating, for the right to die with dignity. But I must say, how many young people, living in their parents' basement, so ill like my son, would take on such a heavy-duty issue on behalf of others struggling. My son showed so much love and compassion
He
for
did.
other people suffering.
Just anointed. I mean, I'm gonna tell you what I took from it, and I'm still taking it. It's very emotional for me, and I don't understand it. I'm serious. I really don't understand it outside of just how sad it is. And I found the BBC piece, which is so well done. And I'm gonna share it from the computer. And I'm pretty sure that when the internet screws up, it still plays. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So we're gonna give it a shot and see. So I'm gonna share that now. It should pop up there in a second. Okay, there it is. And I'm going to get it started. Is it doing it?
I just see it, but nothing is moving.
Now it's playing on my.
You'll get up one morning, I'll be gone.
Here we go. It's on now.
Okay.
Can't really hear it. The internet's really wonky.
It really is, and it's such a shame. I'm gonna tell you what I am gonna do though. Hold on, is I'm gonna grab this.
Night we would take him to Boston Pizza, and he wanted to run around and talk to people. Adam, he's a very social guy, and so he was like this, and just plunk himself and say, "Hello, I'm Adam."
Oh,
You can't really see it. It's
No,
stuck on one
no.
page.
But what I wanted to do, and I did it. So let me do this. Hold on, you guys. I did. Well, here's a blessing. We're gonna come back just us. Don't worry, I got rid of it. It should go away. Um, I'm gonna drop the link inside the comment section for you guys. At the end of the broadcast, get over and watch this video where you get to actually hear from Maggie as she continues the fight for Adam and his platform, but you get to hear from him, and boy, it is going to change your life. That's a promise. So go ahead, walk us through how it happened. And had anyone ever done this? I mean, I never even knew this was a possibility.
Had anyone ever done what?
Fought for the right for the mentally ill.
Yeah. I really don't know. I haven't been involved in the issue. I just know that my son and I had a lot of conversations about it, and this is, really heavy duty situation. Imagine my son is coming to me and telling me, Mom, I'm looking at ways to die. And I'm looking at, how many meters does an office building have to be that I can jump off of and actually do it? My son's biggest fear was trying to die by suicide, but not being successful, like ending up in the hospital, as a vegetable, but not entirely doing it. And then we had these conversations with, I said, it's really important. I have to be really, really clear about this. I didn't support my son's right to die for a long time because I felt that he hadn't done enough in the alternative realm. And that's the area I work in.
Right.
Yeah. And so we were really at loggerheads. So I just want to put that out there. I was not in support of it. I felt that he still, to this day, I feel he hadn't done enough. And perhaps if he'd done more with the information that I have and, things that I share with others, that he still might be alive today. But if we go back to his story, he ended up joining a group called Exit International, and they actually teach you how to die a peaceful death. And my son was the youngest person in the world to join this organization.
Wow.
And so basically he ended up illegally importing a drug. Now, just importing that drug, he could have gone to jail. So he gave it to someone else. Nobody knew. He really did a lot to protect his family. He never really told us a lot, but he did talk, on the media that he wasn't going to live like this. So imagine I'm home one day and on the front page of a newspaper, it's my son's picture and it's saying, I will commit suicide. I will not live like this. So it was so brutal. It was so intense. And it was every day I'm scared. Is he still alive? What's happening? How's he feeling? This went on for a very, very long time. And as long as my son talked, I still felt maybe he won't do it. He's still talking about he's going to live. He's going to, I don't know. I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that my son was going to die at such a young age. I've thought of a lot of things in my life, but never conceived that my son would do this. So in the middle of the night, he ended up leaving his dad's home and he went to a motel room and he took this illegal product and he died by suicide in this little comfy bed in a motel, little Super 8 motel in Windsor. And neither me or his father could have been there because we would have been legally charged.
And he knew this.
For abetting a crime. So it's legal to die by suicide. It's illegal to die with your loved ones.
By suicide.
Suicide.
So he was forced into having to die alone.
Yes. He died all by himself.
So that was probably, I would think, or maybe not, but was that his main reason for the fight? Plus the dignity piece.
Yeah. So basically, at that time, there was no legal ability to die by suicide if you're struggling with mental illness. And my son made it very clear. He was saying things like, it's not if you're having anxiety for 6 months or depression. I'm not advocating suicide for that. It's for long-term, irretractable mental health issues, physical pain. You're not getting any better. And my son was losing his cognitive abilities. So here he is, a really intelligent, ambitious man, realizing he's losing his physical abilities, his mental abilities. And he just said, I refuse to live in my dad's basement as a vegetable.
When did you, okay. Oh,
and I also need to talk about the pain. That's another thing. My son developed something called somatic somatiform disorder. Really, he got brain damage from the marijuana. This is really important for parents to understand because so many young people are smoking pot, and those with mental health issues. And if you're under 27, you should stay off the marijuana. The THC damages the body. It developed this incredible pain in my son. It affected different parts of his brain. It affected his ability to see. So he couldn't handle light. He had to go jogging at night when he was, feeling better at the beginning. And then over time, it hurt to talk. He said, Mom, I feel like I'm being burned alive by sulfuric acid. So what happened was the marijuana impacted different parts of his brain, and it turned on his pain receptors, and nobody could turn them off. And he ended up on over 17 different medications, some of which cause suicidality. And so, my argument was a long time ago, if we had done other things, I don't know if we could have totally resolved the brain health issues, but we never really had an opportunity. But I do something called hair and mineral testing. And my son had incredibly unbalanced minerals, toxic chemicals in his body, including cadmium. And people who are smoking pot have cadmium in their system, and it's a neurotoxic to the brain as well. So this is a bit of a complicated issue, as you can imagine.
So, and we just took a look at what you woke up to in the newspaper. So let me ask about this piece, Maggie. It's hard to wrap my mind around the juxtaposition, how you two were butting heads. You're in this holistic approach thing long before Adam presents any of this, and then it happens, and you feel like your hands are being hogtied, because if you feel like it's already a hopeless situation for any parent, but then these things about alternative medicine, and why was he so against that, do you think?
He was very young, and he really considered himself scientific. And, if you follow the medical route, and he followed it from A to Z, and it's all medication, okay? It's not dealing with brain health issues. Do you know that not one psychiatrist even did a brain scan on him? Not one. So they basically open up a book, they look at symptoms, and they start giving you drugs. And when I took him to the hospital at the beginning, and he was diagnosed, quote, with psychosis. So they end up giving you antipsychotic drugs. These are very powerful drugs. And it's my argument, when the brain is damaged, I personally don't believe in just adding drugs to the equation, because they further impact it. And if you're already imbalanced, I don't believe it's going to bring anywhere balance. And I have to admit, I did watch my son, and we spoke about it. I said, okay, you do what you want to do for the first 3 months, but then after that, if you don't get better at him, why don't you work with me? And he said, okay, Mom. But then he just got more hardened. And here is the biggest issue people need to understand when it comes to suicide or anybody wanting to die. When they start losing hope, nobody can save them. And he got into this hopelessness where he felt that nothing could help him. And he didn't even want to go and look any further into my alternative medical realm. He was exhausted from just going through this. He convinced himself that he could not get better. And that's the biggest danger of anyone that wants to die. When they lose hope, there is no chance. You cannot save them. You can't do anything. And I had to sit back, because my son's in his 20s. He's not a child. I can't force him to do anything.
No. And he looks like the all-American kid. The kid that has everything going. Smart, athletic, handsome, everything, his whole future. It just doesn't compute. I don't know how you did it and how you continue, but you do. So let me ask you this. Let's go back to that piece that you were talking about where he started feeling the physical manifestation. What is that called again? Because I think I shared with you. I believe I sent Adam's video to my nephew, Joseph Jr., who, I told you my brother-in-law took his life because Joseph, my brother-in-law, sent Joe Jr. a voicemail moments before he did it. And in that voicemail, because I have it, you can hear quivering in his voice because it's like the pain. I just can't do it. It's too much. No one believes me. Please make them do an autopsy. And he was pleading and pleading. And when I watched Adam's piece, the first thing I did was shoot that video over to Joe Jr., hoping that it would give him some closure or just help him understand what happened with his dad. So what do they call that?
Well, they called it a variety of things. Honestly, I don't think they didn't really know. So I just find sometimes they just make up terms. But first of all, it's psychosis. And then he saw other doctors. And then it was somatoform disorder, they called it. And basically,
Somatoform disorder.
yeah, it's just this incredible pain in the body. The brain can't turn it off. And it's not just in the mind, it's in the body, right? So my son actually is, he highly intelligent young man, and he explains that in the video, his symptoms and what he was going through, but it just was getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So in the end, my son wanted control over his death. And so he chose to take that route. And it was very hard. It was very, very, very hard.
Have you met any other people as a result of Adam's journey that are dealing or were dealing with the same situation? And talk about that if you could a little.
Actually, I've started working now with a few young men, interestingly enough, around the world, not just in Canada. And these are young men who've been smoking marijuana. Some just did a little bit, and some have been regular users, but they're experiencing high anxiety, obsessive compulsive disorder, mentally intrusive thoughts that they can't turn off, and pain as well. So I've started working with a few, but again, we live in a world where the first thing, people want to do, or they go to the doctors and then they get on the medication. So a lot of them have come to me and said, I've been on these medications 3, 4, 5 years. I'm getting worse. What do I do? Or what's happened is parents have been trying other alternatives, because they really don't know how to start or what to start with. And they've just been blowing all their money. And then they hardly have any left for, the individuals when they learn, there's additional testing. We can do, biochemical testing to really get a read on what's happening. Because if you have toxic chemicals in your body, that damages the body and the brain. And if you have unbalanced minerals, that's going to affect your mood, your sleep, your anxiety, all that type of thing. So I work with regular clients every day who don't smoke pot, and they have all kinds of unbalanced minerals and toxic chemicals. So it just ups it when you're dealing with a younger person who's been, smoking marijuana. Some are abusing it. Some, just did it maybe 2 or 3 times. But the teenage, like in the 60s, and I tried pot a long time ago, and it made me paranoid. So I stayed away from it. But what I know,
yeah, don't do that.
yeah. Back in the day, the 60s and 70s, it's like the THC was 3%. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it starts at 15, and it goes up to 30%. They call it skunk. And there are all kinds of young people in North America, around the world, who are in the hospital now, being hospitalized with psychosis, all these different things because of marijuana use. And remember, it's the developing brain. We're not talking about adults with the developed brain. We're talking about you have mental health issues often, or your brain is simply developing, and you put a drug, and what it does, it affects the endocannabinoid system in the brain. So it affects your chemical messenger. So what happens is when you smoke that pot, it's like it changes the software in your brain, and you can't remove it. So you get stuck.
So the marijuana piece, were you already on that tile, that slab of the sidewalk when Adam was fighting his battle? And did you guys have this conversation about the marijuana while he was smoking it? Or did you know this later because of
No.
the
So,
hair test? Talk about the test. You had hair
so,
tests done.
so let's just go back. So basically, I did not know that he was smoking marijuana. We'd actually had a conversation a while back. I said to him, I don't know very much about marijuana, but I just think given your own mental health issues, Adam, you might not want to do it. A drug can affect you. And he said, quote, it's legal, it's safe, it's not a problem, blah, blah, blah. And I abused alcohol. I had a lot of problems with alcohol. I came from a very violent, abusive childhood. I
Okay.
had a lot of anxiety and OCD myself. I cleared all that with the work that I do. I did it all naturally, no drugs. I've even had cancer, and I've
Yeah,
recovered
good
from
for
cancer without any, surgery or chemo or radiation. So I just researched how to get better, how to clean out the system, how to help the body heal itself. And
Okay.
my son was just convinced, marijuana, because it's legal. A lot of people believe that because the government has legalized marijuana, parents also don't think it's a big deal, right? Why would they legalize something that has medical, harmful effects? And after my son died, I actually went and started talking to different doctors and different city officials saying, why is marijuana legal? Don't you know about these negative side effects? And a lot of the doctors and scientists said to us, we have gone to the government, we have discussed the negative side effects, and they won't listen. They don't care. It's a money-making business, and it's a taxation issue. That's why it was legalized. That's the reality.
So what about the people that say, okay, she's bitter. She's gotta blame someone. She didn't do right. I'm sure you've heard it all, whether they realize you heard it or not. Talk about
No, no, I don't. No, I'm not. Obviously, I miss my son, and I wish he was alive. But at the end of the day, it's my son chose to smoke marijuana. That's on him. So I'm just saying, though, that how many of us have made really poor decisions, but we've
hello.
survived. We've survived. We've lived. This is a situation where young people making this decision can either cost them their lives or cost them their mental health for the rest of their lives. And not to mention the impact it has, not just on the child, but on the family. Do you know how many parents I have met right now across this country whose kids are in the basement in their 30s, smoking pot, not motivated, having mental health issues, and basically like almost running the roost of the family? It's crazy. So no, I'm not. I don't know. No one's ever really accused me of being bitter. My goal right now is
So
if you want to smoke,
okay.
that's your right. I mean, if you
Well
want to do
here
that, it's okay. If
well
that's
and
what
here's I bet you I can't imagine that you don't get a lot of pushback, Maggie. Simply because you're in the holistic realm yourself, where there's a lot of people. That's where plant medicine lives,
Mhm.
and Mother Earth, Gaia. You hear all that,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
then here's this person, i.e., you, who's saying, yeah, holistic, but here is something from the earth. Stay away from it. And because
yeah.
look at how legalized marijuana is moving. So how do you stand up to that one?
All I can say is there's so much science now, and like Colorado was the first to legalize pot. Go look at the
Hmm.
hospital stats. Look at all the kids going in as a result of psychosis and different issues. And even young kids now, finding their parents' gummies, thinking that it's candy. Do you know how many kids are actually hospitalized due to eating their parents' gummies? I mean, it's just there's lots of stats out there. You just have to look. I don't have to debate it because I know what's out there. And look, I'm a recovered alcoholic, and I understand a lot about addiction, and I understand how alcohol, a drug, marijuana, what have you, it can impact the brain. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And so people need to be aware of that. I mean, I didn't start off saying I want to be an alcoholic, which I ended
Right.
up getting into.
Right. Same
But
thing with
I
me. Right.
didn't know, I had anxiety. I had all these different issues and I didn't know how to cope. So most of us, when we have mental health issues, what do? We try to manage it. I'm going to just smoke I'll smoke some pot to calm down, or I'll have a drink to calm down. But over time,
Numbing.
I became dependent upon it. And it affected my thinking. It affected my goals. It affected my productivity. Like, I look back now, I was a substance abuser for 3 decades, and I'm so healthy and different now in my thinking. I can't believe some of the decisions I made, the things I did in my past. But I just think, wow, I could have been such a different person, probably accomplished way more had I not gotten addicted to alcohol. So not everyone gets addicted. Not everybody's a substance abuser. But again, remember what I'm saying. It's young people who have a developing brain are more susceptible to having brain damage from the THC in marijuana. And that's a scientific fact. That truly is.
Now, you had a hair test done. Talk about that. What motivated you to do that, and what was the outcome?
So I do a lot of hair and mineral testing for my clients and myself. And I was really bugging Adam to get hair from him. I really wanted to see what his test would show. And basically, if my son had toxic level of copper in his body and very little zinc. Now, that kind of imbalance creates a lot of emotionalism, aggression, frustration, but it can also lead to obsessive compulsive disorder issues, bipolar. So I've done thousands of these tests, right, in the last 2 decades of my life. So I have seen the impact that it's had, and I deal with people all the time with anxiety, insomnia, lack of focus, lack of motivation. And what we found is just by balancing your minerals, that balances the brain and the body, and it improves the brain health. So we look at your calcium and your magnesium, we look at your sodium potassium ratios, we look at all these different ratios, and then we look at toxic chemicals. And I have been finding, and I can scientifically show this, people that are smoking marijuana tend to have higher levels of cadmium in their body. Cadmium's in the soil where they grow the marijuana, and it's a neurotoxic to the brain. So
is that in all soil, or what about organic?
You know what? I'm not an expert in growing marijuana. You'd have to talk to somebody else. But from what I'm just seeing with the testing that I'm doing, with the people that I've worked with, we're just seeing my regular clients have very little to no cadmium. My marijuana smokers have the cadmium in their system.
Let's pivot here to your internal, the relationship inside your family dynamic since Adam's departure. Sometimes when this sort of thing happens, or any type of tragedy, especially with a child, it has a tendency to really dismantle the family unit. It can tear so many things asunder. How has your family held together, or has it, since this happened with Adam? And, do people think this is just how you're coping with your grief, or do they think here comes that crazy lady? I'm keeping it real, because, when things are passionate to us, we have to just keep going no matter what. And I know that you deal with a lot that people don't realize you deal with, but nonetheless you do, and you keep going. And I wanted to give you a chance to address that.
Well, I could just say that, people deal with grief differently. Now, I have an ex-partner, and, we've always been friends, and we've had a good relationship ever since we split. And my son was just 3 when we split. But people, react differently. And I'm a woman. I was much more emotional. I had a lot more conflicted grief around what I do versus, what happened. Could I have saved him? I mean, number one, I want to save my kid. I didn't want to see him die, And then my ex, he's an economist. He's a professor. He's more left brain. He was more on side with my son's right to die. So we were kind of, in different areas. But in the end, I was never really close to my family, and my dad has been dead for quite some time, and my mom was not doing very well. So I just basically did a lot of healing work on my own. I did try to reach out to my ex, and even my son said that. He said, Mom, you and Dad need to, get closer and talk about, but I did attempt to talk to my ex, but he just emotionally, he just wasn't available. He couldn't do it, which is fine. And it's not a judgment.
Yeah.
We all go
We
through
meet
our
people
own,
where they're at,
we
right.
have to go through it personally. So what I did was I did a lot of bereavement classes. I took courses in loss by suicide. I did a lot of reading and research. I did a lot of my own tools. I did my hair testing because my minerals were so unbalanced from the stress. And I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep for a couple of years after my son died. Imagine constantly being waken up 4 or 5 times a night.
Oh,
I was in agony. Like I was just I had to fight to live again. There was a part of me that wanted to join Adam.
Oh,
You know?
you think? Yes. That's a very real thing.
There was a part of me that really truly wanted to die. And I had to go through that process of, okay, you just get to that place. We all get to that place where you're so down in the dungeon, you either decide to take your life, like my son, or climb out. And I decided that I was going to climb out. And not only was I going to climb out, but I was going to do everything possible. So I've learned a lot about grief and healing and overcoming loss. I also went public. I speak about suicide prevention. I speak about my son. I keep him alive. I feel like my son is still working with me. I really believe my son wants other people to know about the impact of marijuana so they can make an informed choice. I know my son,
even though he didn't agree with you on that.
Yeah, because I think things change, and I do feel my son. It sounds strange maybe to some people, but I'm very left brain myself, but I feel my son's presence, and I feel that,
no doubt.
Yeah, I just feel his presence, and people reaching out to me through his videos. I mean, that's a way of kind of keeping his memory alive. But I want to normalize discussions around mental health issues. I want to normalize discussions around marijuana use and substance abuse. I want to normalize discussions around suicide. When my son died by suicide, I have to say this: people don't know how to handle it. They don't know what to say, so they say nothing.
Yes.
So I had to go out of my way and ask people, especially for the first couple of months, can you just bring me food? Like I couldn't cope. I couldn't think. I didn't want to cook. And it was like, I had to ask constantly for help because suicide is and even dying, we don't talk about dying. We don't talk about death. We all know it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen today. Just like parents, I don't think my kid will ever die by suicide. Do you know right now, in our conversation within an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. 4 males in the United States have taken their life, and 1 female has taken her life within 1 hour. And around the world, every 40 seconds, somebody is taking their life. Every 40 seconds in our world. So I think we need to have other conversations. We need to really talk more about this. I hear a lot about when it comes to young people with mental health issues, we need to give them tools for resiliency and stress and coping with stress, and that's fine. We also need to look at their brains. We need to understand that every day we are consuming toxic chemicals in our food, our air, our water, and it's damaging. It's damaging our kids. It's damaging our health. We have more chronic illness and issues and diabetes and all kinds of other things because of this. And I feel that moving forward, we need to really work on water, cleaning up our water, and cleaning up our agricultural system. We need healthy food. Nutritionally, so many people are deficient, and that also contributes to mental health issues. So my goal is just, I'm getting out there. I want to talk. I want to share my son's story. I hope I've helped somebody. I hope I've given some new information. Like, that's my goal. I love you. I really care about people. I care about this world. I really, really do.
I know.
And I don't want anyone to go through a suicide death of their child because you are changed forever. You are changed forever.
You think, Maggie, I just want to say as we round this up, it's just you're such an incredibly strong spirit, and you take on a lot. You take on a lot that you don't deserve, and it doesn't belong to you, but you do it anyway because I can see it, I can feel it, that you really do hope that if you can just save one person, or get a person to start thinking in a better way. And that's what it's all about. And thank you so much for coming on today and sharing Adam with us, his story. And I want us to get together. I want you to meet a friend of mine named Mark Haddis, and Journey's Dream, all about a young man named Journey who also took his life through mental illness. And I sit on that board, and I really think we need to have a 90-minute television special minimum just to talk about Adam's story and this thing that no one even I would have never, if I hadn't heard it come out of Adam's mouth, I would not have known it was even a thing. How can that be in 2023? Yeah. So,
can I just say one more thing?
Absolutely.
With regards to my son, as a result of his advocating, for the right to die for the mentally ill, and that we are going to have a law change now in Canada in 2024 with the recognition of what my son was advocating. And secondly, my mother just recently died, and I helped her get MAID, medical assistance in dying. It normally takes 3 to 5 months, but I ended up getting it for her in 5 days because my mom was really going down quickly, and she was terrified that she was losing her mind and she wouldn't be able to make the informed decision that you have to make in front of doctors. So I've been pulled into the MAID debate, kicking and screaming, but here I am. And it is important that we have these discussions. It really is.
Listen, there are many people think silence is golden, but not when it comes to situations like these. We need to have these conversations, and we need to have them yesterday. So I'm so happy that we had one today. That's a start, if you ask me. Maggie Maier, what an inspirational everything. So I just want to thank you, seriously. And I'm sorry about all the technical things, but I am not sorry that we had this conversation, and I look forward to what's to come. And if I can be of support in any way, you let me know. But I really do want to introduce you to my friend Mark and see what we can do to help bring more attention, more awareness, and more commitment to change in every way possible.
I'm open to speaking anywhere in the world about this with anybody that's interested.
Will you do me a favor when we close this? Will you go into the comments of the show and just drop your links, because I can't get to them from here on the phone? If you would do that. Yeah, and I will do it as well to make sure you guys have access to Maggie Maier. She's on LinkedIn, she's on Facebook, she's everywhere. And so is Adam. Get out there today. And remember that it is a blessing every moment that we have to make a difference in this world. So make a commitment, won't you please, moving forward in this day, to seek whatever you need to find your highest self, and to take that highest self to change and convert someone else into being a better self themselves. That was a lot of tongue twisters in there. So listen, get out of here, all of you. I tell you every day as we close, I absolutely adore you. I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have the best day ever. Great job, Maggie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Oh, I'm standing right here holding up a sign.